The Jesse Mack Butler case is one that has angered and baffled people from the very start. And somehow it keeps on delivering, because tonight we've learned that the judge who signed off on that sweetheart deal that spared Butler from prison after raping two classmates has reportedly scheduled her retirement. Judge Susan Worthington is going to be off the bench by the end of the year, and also at the end, and as in the end of this month. And that matters because Worthington is the judge who reclassified Butler from adult offender to a youthful offender. This is a move that wiped out a 78-year prison sentence for raping and strangling two teenage girls when Jesse was 16 and 17 years old. One of the girls was choked so violently that doctors say she was 30 seconds from death. And instead of prison, Butler got probation. If he stays out of trouble, the whole case gets dropped off his record by the time he turns 19, which, by the way, is next August. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions about the timing of Judge Worthington's retirement, I get it. A source close to the case tells us it was previously planned. It's not the result of protests or online scrutiny or the growing legal challenges, but timing, it sure lands. Speaking of legal challenges, by the way, a new legal fight is now looming regarding Jesse Mack Butler. There is a new motion that has been filed alleging that the teen survivors, the victims in this case, their constitutional rights were violated at nearly every stage of this case. And there is a petition in this motion to ask the court to step in and reconsider the deal that erased Jesse Mack Butler's prison time altogether. Rachel Bussett, the attorney behind that motion, who represents one of the teenage survivors, joins me now live. It's good to see you once again. Okay, first, got to get your opinion on Judge Worthington's retirement announcement. Let's start there.
Well, Jesse, I wasn't surprised to see it. Judge Worthington has had some health problems, it's my understanding, for years. So it could all just be convenient timing. I don't know.
Okay, that's fair. Totally fair. I do want to get into the motion, but as I think about this case, and I think about the two victims in this case, I have to ask, is it possible there could be additional charges that Jesse Mack Butler might face, either a state or federal level?
Well, certainly there were state charges that weren't brought, but if you listen to that extended video of the arrest of Jesse Butler, the mother asks about getting the phone back, and the detective says, no, that phone won't ever be coming back because of what's found on the phone. So that makes me wonder, Jesse, if there wasn't CSAM materials on the phone, which would make it illegal to give it back, and that's something that could be prosecuted federally as well as at the state level.
I can understand why you make that conclusion. I will say on the other side, we also don't know if there was something on that phone that corroborated the accounts of the victims in this case, and maybe that's what it was about. But I hear you. I hear you. I do want to ask about your motion. So the motion that you make essentially says that these girls' rights were violated. The victims' rights were violated. Their families' rights were violated under Marsy's law. Can you better explain what exactly happened here, why you believe their rights were violated?
Yeah, sure. So Marsy's law is a victims' rights bill that says victims are entitled to certain things along the process, notice being one of them, the opportunity to be heard, to participate, to review the evidence, and these things just weren't given. They weren't given proper procedural notice. They didn't know about the plea agreement until shortly before walking into the courtroom. They've never been able to see all of the materials. We just feel like they were violated from beginning to end.
Could this realistically result in his sentence being thrown out, it being reevaluated? Could this lead to him actually being sentenced to prison?
Well, Jesse, we have to show that there's more than just a Marsy's law violation, that there's other legal basis. We do believe that exists with regard to the youthful certification process, and that will be briefed further.
Have you seen a case in this jurisdiction or another one that would support it, that you've seen something like that before?
There are other jurisdictions where this has happened, but in those jurisdictions, there's law are written a little bit differently about violations of Marsy's law and how it impacts change. Here, no, this is really one of the first of its kind that I know of to challenge a conviction or a plea deal under Marsy's law. I've spoken to many attorneys. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, you were saying?
I've spoken to many attorneys who've said they've tried to assert their Marsy's law rights on behalf of their clients that have been shot down by the district attorneys and the courts. So I don't know that anybody else has filed this before, so it's the first of its kind to my knowledge.
And I understand the prosecution's office is fighting back against this, denies it. Before we wrap things up, I want to go back to your client. How's your client doing right now? You know, as a teenager trying to live a normal life after everything she's been through, and now it's continuing on into this new legal fight. How's she doing?
She's doing as best she can. She won't ever, quote, have a normal teenage life again. Her childhood was stolen from her in many ways. She's lost those typical high school experiences that we all look fondly back on, or maybe not so fondly, depending on, but at least you had the opportunity to have them.
Rachel Bussett, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and have a great holiday.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.